players at their absolute apex heading into 2026, it's important to never take today's best players for granted, cause one day they'll all get old and fade off the sunset in the middle of the country left unbothered. When it comes to the history of the game, every era had its legends. Most of our grandparents caught a glimpse of Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain. Our actual parents got to live through the Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and Michael Jordan era. Those born in the early 90s got to see prime Shaq and Kobe. The ones in their 20s now started watching when Derrick Rose became the youngest MVP. But for the majority of this audience growing up in the 2000s, the players we idolize, we watched them dominate their primes, then slowly or suddenly hit a wall, losing their magic powers. These were the moments your favorite superstar officially became washed. Starting with 2005, Allen Houston, after a multitude of injuries and chronic knee issues, already slowing down previous year, but missed 62 games, the final nail in the coffin, unable to recover, couldn't finish out the way he liked. The heart and soul of the Knicks franchise post-Ewing era, team endured 2 decades of rough time until recently. Juwan Howard, first season in H-Town, a shell of his former self, went from averaging 17 a game to under 10, fully accepted his role following 7 seasons, Udonis Haslem style. Many remember him riding the bench during Miami's super team tenure. 2006, Michael Finley would have been devastated had his former squad won the title, eliminating his Spurs. Cuban used his amnesty clause on the beloved fan favorite, avoiding the luxury tax. At least Finley won a title with San Antonio the following year as a role player. Grant Hill, injuries robbed him of being top 75. After 4 brutal seasons, at least in 2005, the former 7-time All-Star earned his final spot being recognized. He didn't regress too badly, just no longer a top player, but a very good starter until 2012. Hill simply had 3 different career stages. Steve Francis, from All-Star starter just 2 seasons before to laughingstock with the Knicks, sharing backcourt duties with Stephon Marbury, an absolute travesty. Was only 29 years old, didn't even last 10 seasons in the association, a combination of knee problems, not getting along with coaches, his huge ego caused his downfall. Everybody gave up on him by age 30, even became too washed to join the Chinese Basketball League. 2007, a couple huge names, Shaquille O'Neal. Even by the latter part of the 06 season, it was clear Miami was Dwayne Wade's team. After a putrid finals against Dallas, averaged an unimpressive 13 points for the series, the Big Diesel started his decline as peak Shaq after 2003. Still remained one of the best players in 05, made first team 2006. Injuries started to pile up, missed more than half of the 07 season, too slow. All that out of shape off-season stuff caught up to him. After being swept by the Bulls, the 35-year-old butted heads with Pat Riley resulted Shaq in becoming a journeyman ring chaser the final years of his career. Chris Webber, his ACL tear 2003 ended his prime, still a 20-point scorer in 06, looked upon as the Ben Wallace replacement, 33 years old, put up 11 and 7. Everybody back in the day rocked the purple Kings C. Webb jersey. Was ineffective for the playoffs, watched helplessly as Braun destroyed his team in the conference finals. After being waived by the Sixers, Webber already damaged goods. Antoine Walker got heavy out of shape, only age 30, out the NBA less than 2 years after his title, made bad life decisions, 100 million plus earnings, gone instantly after being out the league. 2008, Ben Wallace officially became washed after his first full season with the Bulls. The 4-time Defensive Player of the Year did not age well. If the Pistons still had him instead of C. Webb the previous year, they likely make another finals just to lose to San Antonio. Chicago realized the aging undersized 5 wasn't going to put them over the hump, giving his declining athleticism and zero offensive game. Big Ben never made another defensive team after 07, stuck around till 2012, 2 years too long. 2009, not the answer we hoped, but Allen Iverson, after being traded to Detroit, went from averaging over 26 to 17.5 points, given his small frame, being 33 of age. Not only were Detroit's chemistry ruined, Rip Hamilton asked to take a back seat. All those insane miles and injuries, first dozen seasons, averaged an insane 42 minutes a game. His quickness suddenly evaporated, too many hard falls from past years, and refusing to come off the bench. Head coach Michael Curry, one of the worst all time. AI just lasted 28 games the following season after missing 1/3 of his games at the Motor City, out the league by 2010. His ego never allowed him to become a decent sixth man. The Nuggets really took AI's final All-Star caliber season before things got ugly. No warning signs, no farewell. From averaging above 26 points to nobody wanting him 2 years later, an all-time painful exit. 2010 Rasheed Wallace. His Game 7 performance stands out, but played his way into shape. Only a 22 minutes guy, became frustrating to watch with Boston. Coach Doc Rivers tells him different things. Shot more threes than coach preferred, barely posted up, dealt with a back injury. Defense wasn't the same. Had she been a year or two younger, Boston might have had enough juice to steal the 2010 title. Vince Carter might have played for another decade. After 2 full careers, one as half man, half amazing, the other average role player, his star powers ended after falling to elevate Orlando. Got embarrassed by Boston Conference Finals, a series Paul Pierce took his soul, averaged under 14 points, 37% from the field, went down 0-3. Orlando played better when he rode the bench. A 3-point, 1 of 9 elimination game 4, absolutely not an upgrade from Hedo Turkoglu. Michael Redd, a Bucks legend during the mid to late 2010s, had knee injuries, was still balling out in 09, put up over 21 a game, but suddenly tore both his ACL and MCL on his left knee. January 25th, the then 29-year-old basically washed overnight, lasted 3 more seasons after. 2011, Gilbert Arenas, his meniscus tear April 7, 2007, 4 years before, destroyed his prime, had multiple surgeries, combined with the gun incident in 09, his points per game reduced in half from the previous year, traded to Orlando, became useless for prime Dwight Howard, out the league in 2012, but paid handsomely till 2014, one of those guys who would have been a Hall of Famer if it wasn't for the injuries. Rip Hamilton, last season with the Pistons, the mid-range machine averaged only 14 a game, had his issues with multiple coaching staff after Flip Saunders. His last 2 years with the Bulls, just uneventful. Brandon Roy, a beloved Portland favorite, was supposed to be the next great shooting guard after Kobe, but by 2011, his degenerative knees too much to overcome, gave us one lasting ounce of greatness. Game 4 Dallas series, dropped 18 of his 24 points final period off the bench, one of his final great games in an NBA uniform. Yao Ming played 5 games after foot surgery, suffered a stretch fracture, combined with all the foot and leg problems, exasperating in previous years, the 7'6" giant forced to call it a career. 2012 Chauncey Billups, already 35 years old, being with the Clippers, Mr. Big Shot had a late spurt, enter his prime in his late 20s, all the way to post 2011, but ruptures his Achilles tendon. Him and CP3, arguably the best backcourt at the time, being super deep, played just 20 games, his next 2 seasons, 41 contests, poor averages just to get to the finish line, retiring with Detroit 2014. Amari Stoudemire, after an MVP caliber season first year with the Knicks, before Melo's arrival, stats slowed down significantly year 2. There was a reason why the Suns contend of letting him go. After 2011, with his injuries, the athleticism declined, picked up weight during the lockout, had back issues, punched the fire extinguishing box. Game 2 Miami loss, was still 29 years old, became wash the following years, retired after 2016. Carlos Boozer, a monster with Utah, but awful fit with the Bulls, all offense, no defense, couldn't turn up the scoring in Derrick Rose's absence, bench for the less talented Taj Gibson, getting the max to play poorly, didn't sit well, being 30 years old, stuck around till 2015, one of the many disasters in the Gerb Hacks era. Ray Allen, never truly fully washed, given his impeccable outside shooting, hit the most clutch 3 in NBA history imaginable, literally a top 5 moment all time. But by 2012, Ray was no longer star material, still averaged 14 a game, down to 10.7 points on 40% shooting in the postseason, leaving KG and Pierce to join forces with Prime Bron, the best decision he could have ever made. Allen retired in 2014 on good terms as a terrific bench guy. 2013, Steve Nash, immediately after busting knees with rookie Dame Lillard, the moment he decided to take his talents to LA, a huge mistake. October 31st, 2012, missed over 2 months, joined LA a year too late, constantly having to lay on the floor to keep his back healthy. The then 38-year-old played just 2 games in the playoffs with purple and gold, even elected to play the 2015 season, but injured his back carrying luggage before the season started. His body had enough. Jason Kidd, similar to Ray Allen, got a little worse with age, but his impeccable skill sets as a role player, his numbers might have not been great, but gave the Knicks some steady control and leadership. Team wouldn't have won 54 games without him, but by the playoffs, Kidd was instantly beyond wash. Last 10 career games, no more basketball juice left in his body, went 0 of 10 from 3, 0 of 17 from the field, 0 points in 188 possible minutes. Impossible to stick around when you know you're that bad. 2014, Kobe Bryant, never the same after the Achilles tear, still being a top 3 player in the game in year 17, returned less than 7 months after that horrific injury, played just 6 contests, had a broken bone on his left knee, originally a 6-week injury, but needed more rehab, ruled out till start of the 2014-15 season, 3 straight season-ending injuries, never the same Kobe. There were flashbacks and glimpses of greatness, but didn't have the legs for a 48-minute game. Last 3 forgettable years, worse than Jordan's tenure with Washington. Numbers of 19, 4 and 4. Gave everything to the game. Kevin Garnett, year 19, could have just retired 2013 as a Celtic. Danny Ainge knew he was damaged goods. Finessed the Nets in all-time robbery fashion. An absolute former shell of his former self. From 15 and 8 All-Star material in 2013 to averaging under 7 and 7. Similar numbers in the playoffs. A low-level starter at age 37. Couldn't do much offensively aside from hitting mid-range jumpers. Spent his last year and a half with Minnesota. Did it for the vibes. Rajon Rondo, after tearing his ACL 2013, playoff Rondo the only thing holding down his legacy. Career imploded after getting traded from Beantown, butted heads with Dallas Rick Carlisle. Only other times he was relevant when the postseason happened. 2015, Derrick Rose, the devastating ACL tear, the beginning of a tragic what if, arguably came back too quickly, had a right meniscus tear 10 games into the 2013-14 season, had his moments here and there, but things were clear, he was never gaining back to his vintage self, no longer the first option. Jimmy Butler took that spot and never looked back. Rose completely changed his style of play, became a good role player until after 2021. Manu Ginobili always had big moments each year. We thought he was done for during the 2013 finals, but bounced back nicely in 14, had a horrendous playoff series against the Clippers, averaged a terrible 8 points, 35% shooting. The Argentinian had one more signature moment 2 years later, blocking James Harden, called it quits 2018. 2015, Dwight Howard was no longer his superstar self. Crazy to believe, 2014, his last All-Star appearance, only 29 years old, was getting banged up, missed half the season, averaged just 16 and 10, well below superstar standards. When him and Bron supposed to be the 2 guys running the league, played through a torn meniscus 2015 playoffs. After slowing down athletically, never the same after that back surgery. The league style of play started changing rapidly. Howard labeled a role player ever since, losing his superstar abilities. 2016, Paul Pierce. The truth became a failure with his hometown Clippers. Stuck around 2 years too long, enough for Draymond to trash talk him out the league. Didn't get a good farewell. Off the bench, averaged a lackluster 6 points. Getting old at 38, it wasn't injuries, but a factor of aging. 2016, Tim Duncan's decline, on the other hand, much more sudden. His last memorable star moment occurred during the 2015 playoffs when toe-to-toe with prime Blake Griffin and even the best player on the court a couple games, but right after team signed LaMarcus Aldridge, the 39 and 40-year-old fell apart in the playoffs, averaged a lackluster 6-5, shot 35% from the field in the semis. After getting blocked by Serge Ibaka late game 6, everybody knew then and there Duncan unofficially retired and wasn't coming back, had knee issues, simply could no longer withstand a full NBA season. Joakim Noah suffered a dislocated left shoulder, never the same since, gave his all throughout the 2014 MVP caliber season, took too much of a burden, everything quickly fell apart, lasted 29 games with the Bulls before New York gave him an insane 4-year $72 million. Lost all confidence in his game, partied way too much, admitted that destroyed his career, finally off the books for the Knicks 2022. 2017 Dirk Nowitzki, now having regrets he should have retired sooner. Aside from his incredible 30,000 point milestone, the then 38-year-old became slow and flat-footed. Dallas mistakenly still tried to compete when giving Harrison Barnes a crazy amount. Dirk missed 19 of his first 24 games. Any basketball movement led to pain in his Achilles. Now says he has trouble playing soccer with his kids. Given the miles and international play, his legacy forever cemented. A true champ, Pau Gasol, spent his final All-Star season at the Windy City, but couldn't fill in the shoes of the great Tim Duncan. When signed with San Antonio, was already 36, him and LaMarcus Aldridge wasn't as effective. Spurs fans complained about his lack of defense, became even more washed the following year, lasted 30 games 2019, finally called it a career after a stress fracture when waived by Portland to start the 2019-20 season, officially retired October 2021. Tony Parker got washed so bad the organization didn't properly treat their 4-time champ with any utmost respect, to the point he signed with Charlotte in 2018, of all places to finish his career in the most miserable franchise possible. TP barely a viable starter at age 34. 2018, Dwayne Wade, his tenure with Cleveland, an absolute travesty. Traded by the deadline, ended up back in Miami, the place he should have never left in the first place. Almost a miracle Wade played till 37, given his bad knees. Since 2012, came off the bench for the first time in his career, a lackluster 11-point average. At least he was much better during his final season, was in a bad situation with the toxic locker room before Kobe Altman did him a favor. Isaiah Thomas, playing for Cleveland, did him no favors, an absolute shell of his former self after the hip injury, never close to the same, tried too hard to prove himself. When he finally came back, team was losing, all the blame was on him. Every single ounce of his star powers disappeared overnight, sadly remembered as a needy journeyman since after Boston, the type of player who never fully accepted the reality. Carmelo Anthony, nearly out the league completely after that disgusting first round series losing to Utah. OKC was supposed to be conference finals caliber with his big three. The Knicks literally took all of Melo's best years. When he laughed about the idea coming off the bench, that quickly became reality. Given his knee injury in 2015, the league became faster. Anthony was literally on his last strike with Portland before making a solid comeback to end his career on better terms. 2019, DeMarcus Cousins, that devastating Achilles tear ruined his only opportunity of a max contract, became washed overnight, tried ring chasing with Golden State but to no avail, had one of the worst downfalls. Of the 4 possible seasons after the injury, DeMarcus lasted just 119 games, lackluster numbers of under 11-5 before taking his talents to join Steph and KD. Cousins averaged over 21 and 11 for his career. 2020 Blake Griffin left every ounce of his body on the line, joined the Excellence 2019 campaign, single-handedly dragged Detroit to the postseason, all that to be banged up, swept badly, his athleticism diminished overnight. Marc Gasol won his deserved ring before it was too late, declined after 2019, his Hall of Fame career already established, retired 2021. 2021 John Wall. Wall of the saddest declines. That Achilles tear destroyed all his athleticism. 40 games with Houston, empty stats on a losing team. Franchise even decided to pay him by sitting the vet in street clothes. An absolute travesty. Wall's last playoff series won 2017 first round. Kemba Walker. Bad knees, being undersized, lost all his powers after 2020 All-Star Game. Last 3 seasons, 43, 37, and 9 total contest plays and 9 total games. Already forgotten, spent way too many seasons in losing Charlotte. Relied heavily on quickness with cooked knees. There's a reason he was washed by 30. Kevin Love had an identity crisis after Bron's departure. Known for lashing out in Cleveland, always getting hurt, he did find a strong ending, being in the finals with Miami 2023. Many thought he'd be retired shortly after 2020. 25 contests, averaged 12 and 7. LaMarcus Aldridge had nothing left in Brooklyn, joining a year too old, forced to retire due to a health scare, only to come back just to reach his 20,000 career points. His last season with the Nets unnecessary. The 7-time All-Star, very borderline Hall of Famer. 2022 Russell Westbrook getting traded to the Lakers, especially playing with Bron, the absolute death sentence. Legacy took a massive hit. No player dealt with more harsh criticism than 22 Westbrook, the most disrespected nickname of any superstar over the last decade. He did have his moments with the Clippers and Nuggets, but not enough to erase the damage he caused to purple and gold. Chris Paul literally broke down to an average point guard after having one of his best games. Eliminated New Orleans, dropped 33 on 14 of 14 shooting in the closeout, but games 3-7 against the Mavs averaged a putrid 9.4 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists on just 7 shot attempts. After losing his 5th playoff series, being up 2-0, his legacy forever cursed. The brutal memes cutting his team's deficit to 42 points forever lives in infamy. Couldn't finish out the 2023 postseason. Phoenix even traded him for Bradley Beal. Still decent now, should be retiring come 2026. Kyle Lowry, no longer an all-star but decent role player with championship DNA, struggled badly throughout the playoffs with Miami, averaged under 8 a game, 29% shooting, dealt with a hamstring injury, had his moments during the 23 finals run, 35 games played a season ago with Philly, back for another year, doing it for the vibes. 2023, Ben Simmons, absolutely useless, now out the NBA, nobody cares, enough said. 2024, Klay Thompson, last season with Golden State, 0 of 10 in an elimination game, will forever leave a sour taste in his brutal exit. Found it difficult to accept he was no longer as good. Those injuries took a massive toll, still a future Hall of Famer, and will have his number 11 jersey retired in the Bay after his career said and done. 2025 Paul George, 3 more years with the Sixers. At least he's the last man standing from his disappointing 2010 class. Overpaid, way past his prime. It'd be a miracle if Philly somehow flips his contract. Is he even considered an average starter anymore? These all-time superstars not washed yet. LeBron, Curry, Durant, Harden, Kawhi Leonard, so-so.